Okay. And in your research, because when we do research on Amazon, we're looking at keywords by volume and sales and competition and things like that. So share with us some practical tips for doing that research.
Sure. So the volume stuff coming from Amazon is extremely valuable. So the keyword search volume, things like what is the estimated sales per month, like those types of things will give you an idea of what's performing on Amazon. And so if you understand how to do that for Amazon, this is going to be very helpful for this process. The other things that we try to look for in this process is we try to look for specifically how this product might stand out. So essentially we're looking for angles of potential USPs, and we look for we might go through a process of doing research on potential competitor reviews on third-party websites, on their own website, on Amazon, and we start looking for whether or not there's an opportunity to distinguish this product in a way that's going to have it stand out. So we would do an analysis. I think something happened weird, like it just had an echo loop. Can I?
No.
So what we're accomplishing with this research is we're looking for a way to have this product stand out in a way that's going to be unique and something that's going to hook the audience within this niche. So in a way, we're doing product research, reviews, kind of this like sentiment analysis. But really, the idea is we're looking for how can we make this product stand out and how can this hook if we're going to be selling this on Kickstarter. So we have a bunch of frameworks that we use to go through this process, but one of them is essentially identifying areas to position the product so that it can either be positioned uniquely to the same audience. So if you find a different way to talk about the product or the benefits in a way that that audience hasn't seen it before, that's going to be a really strong way to have it be distinguished, or maybe even to present the product to a different audience. So one of my favorite examples of this is there's a product that I saw called After Socks. And so these are kind of the socks that have this like this a little slightly harder bottom sole, so you don't have to wear the shoes. So you're actually using them for hiking, and it feels like you're walking on your feet and you're protecting your feet so that you can walk around with them. So this is actually quite a popular product that exists, and it's kind of capturing the movement of people that want to walk and feel this like free movement on their feet. So anyways, there is a Kickstarter campaign that took this product concept and almost launched the exact same product, but they launched it in towards a different niche. So they actually positioned this towards women, and they called this After Socks. And the idea was that this product is going to be something that you carry in your purse for when you go out and you party, or you're wearing high heels, so that you can take off your heels and then you can put on these socks, and so you don't have to walk around with the heels afterwards after the night out. So they essentially took a product that existed and positioned it to a different audience that clearly needed it. So there's many different ways to change the way that you position a product and have it to stand out. That's one of them, is just to simply point it to a different audience and find a different way to sell it to that audience. And recently, another good example of this is I saw a campaign that raised about $90,000 for their launch, and they called this they essentially called it they called it natural towels or something like this. But the idea was these are just extra large towels, and they sold it as body positive towels for people that are bigger. And for me, I'm looking at this, it's like, this is just a really big towel, and you just raised $90,000 with positioning this in a way that's just acceptable to a certain audience that's going to be interested in purchasing it. And I think that's genius. It's a really, really intelligent thing to do. And so essentially what we're looking here for is an opportunity to position the product in a different way. So this is what the product research for. There's a few things that I haven't mentioned yet. For example, we might be able to change the materials slightly. So adding interesting, cool materials, changing the aesthetic design a little bit. But all these are things that we learn from the research process to be able to identify how can we actually create a product that's going to stand out a little bit more. And Amazon sellers are doing this to some capacity currently. And the goal is to see how we can actually do this and create a really interesting product that's defensible. And it's even if it's not necessarily 100% unique, to find some subset of an audience or market that you can sell this to that gets them excited.
So what I'm hearing is, really, at the end of the day, this is about doing research in general, not necessarily keyword, etc. But what you're looking for is something that you find, if you like, a vacuum for, where there is a need and there is an audience, not necessarily a unique product, so to speak, but could be an existing product, existing space, but a unique audience, and create a version of whatever already exists, or really it's another word, creating a different version of it, maybe a different ingredient or different material, different, whatever context, or even just the positioning of it in terms of who it is for. So that's what I'm hearing, not necessarily so much getting into numbers like you would do with Amazon, right?
Yeah, so I mean, the numbers portion of it will be similar to what we do on Amazon, just to understand, okay, well, if we want to actually move this to Amazon afterwards, we need to make sure that the demand is going to be there. So if the intention is to move to Amazon, then that's going to be an important part of it. But what we're trying to do here is we're trying to identify how we can actually create a product that's going to be that's going to stand out. And so if you can stand out off Amazon, then by the time you get to Amazon, you're going to do really well, because a lot of sellers are often kind of lazy. They're just doing the bare minimum private labeling, and it's not like they're investing a lot of effort into trying to figure out how they can actually create a product that's going to be fairly distinct, that's defensible, that can be sustainable. And so this process will allow you to consider the fact that you can launch on Amazon afterwards. But beforehand, you're actually going to be able to really think about how to have a hypothesis on how your product is going to stand out. And then later on, we can jump into this later, but the goal is actually to start building an audience around this and getting real customer feedback to validate this idea. So right now we're at the early phases, which is kind of to form our hypothesis. And the next step will be to essentially get feedback from actual customers in that target audience to start validating our idea way even before we launch. So we don't have to launch to find out that people want it or don't want it. We actually highly recommend, at least the way that we approach it, is that you want to get that validation well before, because at some point you can actually learn that this is not exactly what people want. And that's really good feedback, because you don't have to waste time, you don't have to waste money. It's a good opportunity to get that feedback well in advance.
Right.